Did you know our brain is not meant for endless notifications and endless to-do lists? Did you know a lot of us struggle with burnout symptoms, but we don't even know it? We just think it's just a natural part of life. I want to share 10 helpful tips to help you navigate this. My name is Vergia. I'm a mental health consultant. I help managers to keep top performers happy at work. Welcome to Strive Effect. So what is burnout? When we talk about burnout, it's a complicated thing because it often sneaks up on us. And when we realize that we're feeling burnt out, it's always a little too late. I want you to imagine burnout symptoms almost like a boiling frog. If you want to boil a frog, if you place it in hot water, it will jump out right away because it immediately senses the danger. But if you were to place a frog in lukewarm water, they would just feel nice and comfortable, and then they would end up being boiled alive. And it's the same way when it comes to burnout symptoms. We don't know half the time, and it's something that we typically just do. So what are some of the causes of burnout? The first thing is the perception of your work. If you are automatically feeling like, I can't do this, this is too much, this is overwhelming, why did I even get myself into this? You are already placing a mental load on yourself before you even start. And that's why sometimes somebody could start something, they've felt like, they've had all the rest that they need, but the minute they try to do something, they just feel exhausted. The second thing I'll share is the workload. Do you feel like there's a long to-do list? Do you feel like the expectations don't even match what you need to do? And do you feel like you have a lack of control over your work? This can definitely impact our mood and our energy levels. The other thing we need to look out for is the lack of support. Do we feel like we just kind of have to figure it out on our own? Is there a manual? Is there some sort of support? The minute we feel we are on our own, we don't even know what to do, that's also a mental load that a lot of people don't like. And being with other people that know what's happening, that can help you, could be very beneficial. Another thing to look out for is the work and life imbalance. Of course, work and life is on the same continuum, but if you're feeling like you're just putting so much energy in one area of your life, work for instance, and you don't have any energy to place in the other areas of your life, this could be very detrimental, especially to your mental health. And the other thing to look out for is being treated unfairly. Do you feel like there's preferential treatment or discrimination within your environment? Because this environment can create a very toxic work culture. So all of these things we need to look out for because this could be the recipe for an environment that is not necessarily helpful for our well-being. So what are some of the signs of burnout? We talked about, all right, where it's coming from, but what are some of the things that we need to look out for? Exhaustion, cynicism, reduced productivity, difficulty concentrating, physical health problems, and increased anxiety and depression. I once had a client that when he first came to me, he presented as someone that had symptoms of depression. And he just did not have any motivation. He didn't really want to do anything. And of course, with most people, by the time they decide to get help, this situation has been happening for quite some time. And as I got to know him, it wasn't that he was depressed, quote unquote, but it was because of his work environment and this disconnect with his work, this cynicism, this going for long periods of time, doing things and not getting any recognition. And it's almost like it was a rat race for him. So it took some time, but understanding why he no longer enjoyed a job that he was passionate about was key. And it was through that I realized that, okay, these are burnout symptoms. And if we can address this, we can then go back to enjoying and doing the things that you like to do, especially at work. I want to share with you some of the tips that I use to help him overcome the burnout symptoms. The first thing is we worked on self-care and defining what that looked like for him. And what is it that he does that gives him joy to fill his cup? So for him, it was really watching different sports and being a part of different sporting activity that he hadn't been in from like university days. So that was the starting point. Engaging in physical activity was really important to him because that is how he was able to de-stress. The second thing we worked on was boundaries, learning to say no. He was that yes person because he always wanted to do his best. He wanted to be there for other people, but he wasn't being there for himself. So we worked on delay strategies. Can I get back to you? Can I think about that? And deciding that if he says yes to something, it's because he actually wants to, and it's not because of guilt. And we also looked at, if I only have this amount of energy and I'm saying yes to things I don't want to do, what does that mean about the things I want to say yes to? I no longer have the time or resources to do so. So understanding the why behind your no was super important. The third thing we worked on was delegation. A lot of times as high achievers, sometimes we feel like we want to do everything on our own and we can do it the best. But that's not always true. Yes, you might be good at different things, but there's different reasons why people delegate. If you don't delegate, you might not do an effective job. Another reason might be helping another person shine or helping them to develop themselves. You can actually help them by giving them advice, and you can actually learn for yourself what are the things that maybe you haven't seen. So by delegating, you can learn and the other person gets to learn as well. I know it could be really hard, but it's actually a great thing to do. The other tip I shared with him is communicating. Yes, things are really tough right now, but did you try to speak up? What are the different things that you did to help somebody else understand what's going on for you? Because people are not mind readers. And when you communicate, whether with your manager, with your coworkers, take time to write it down, figure out what you want to say. It helps as well, because maybe that person didn't know that this is extremely stressful for you. And maybe they can help you work within your strengths so you can feel like this is a great thing that you want to do and you want to show up to. And of course, we worked on time management, taking breaks, and then we talked about getting help earlier, not waiting until you're so exhausted that you can't even make the appointment. So it's so important to know when to seek professional help. If you're trying all these things like talking to your manager, you're taking breaks, you're delegating, you're taking care of yourself to the best of your ability, and it's still not working, and it's been at least 3 weeks or more, I would say, please get the help that you need. Because by getting the help, you can definitely get back to being yourself and get back to loving what you do. And if you notice that, all right, my mindset needs to change. For some reason, I'm stuck in this guilt cycle. Watch this video to help you get out of the spiral of guilt. Until next time.